Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you this new board game by the name of Alan's Adventureland. It was designed by Alan D. Ernstein, and it plays in about 45 minutes for 3 to 4 players, published by Rio Grande Games. The game on the box, it says ages 14 and up, but I imagine that younger players would be able to play it pretty well. It's not especially complicated rules-wise. In it, players are going to be drafting a number of tiles using cards in order to build up the best theme park on an individual player board. Each player then will score the various attractions based on the number that they've collected within a set and how they've configured those tiles on the board at the end of the game. I'm going to take a moment to show you the rules for the game, and then I will come back here and give you my final thoughts on it. Okay, so this is a setup for a game of Alan's Adventureland. Each player is going to get one of these player boards where they're going to be building their theme park. And there is a scoreboard. I'll remove it just for the sake of space, but players will also get one of these little roller coaster markers to mark their score. Each player is going to begin with 10 points at the start of the game. Beyond that, we have a number of bonus cards, which are just used in a variant, which I'll explain at the end. There are a number of these theme cards, which will give you points for collecting multiple tiles within a given type, a category of ride or attraction. And then there are a number of these ride cards, and these correspond with the various tiles that you see here. There are 78 of those tiles. You will have to sticker those when you get the game, so plan on spending about half an hour doing that because they are two-sided each. And and then there are finally actually these start player marker, and this shows who was the first player marker. So those will travel around the game and control the round structure. So the game, it plays over 4 rounds with 3 players or 3 rounds with 4 players, and players are going to be basically collecting these tiles and adding them to their theme parks in order to place them to score points. So the way that this is going to work is each player will begin with a handful of 6 cards, so they will have these cards, and then they will get to place one of these cards for free, so essentially one of these attractions. So, for example, this player might want to, since they have several of these roller coasters, they might want to start building in roller coasters. So they might play this adrenaline card. They would then look at the adrenaline tiles. And you'll notice on these tiles, they have different upgrades available. You would start with the lowest value, so a 0-point adrenaline. And then they could add that anywhere they want on their board. Probably we want to place it on a blue space because at the end of a round, I'm not sure if you can see here, there are bonuses for covering up those areas on your board. So you want to fill in the blue spaces as quickly as possible, and then blue and yellow, blue, yellow, and red. So the player might just place that there. And in a 4-player game, players will begin by placing 2 of these tiles, and a 3-player just the 1. Then you're going to keep this card as a discard pile, and each player will have their own personal discard pile for the tiles that they've played. After that, then the game will go into a normal round. So again, assuming we're playing a 3-player game, you're going to flip up 6 cards. It's the number of players times 2, and you're going to draft these. So let's just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll turn that sideways so there's no confusion. And beginning with the first player, they will get to take a card. So this player, again, is working on roller coasters, so they might want to take another roller coaster card. They already have a corkscrew card. They might take that. The second player will take a card. The third player will take a card, and then another card. The second player will take a card, and then the first player will get the card that's left. So it's basically a Settlers of a Catan setup style draft where the last player picks both last and then first for the second round. So after that point, players will have a handful of cards, and what they're going to do is that they are going to play a card on either side of them. So this is a 3-player game. I would have a player on this side, and I would have a player on that side, and I would play a card so that, and I could choose either side, and between each 2 players there could just be 1 card. And what that does is that it ensures that I would be able to build that type of ride without any penalty. So if I played this here, my other opponent, let's say he plays one between him and the other player, and then let's just say that this player to my right plays another card there. So now, on my turn, I have the option to build either a corkscrew or a killer whales. tile for free. And I would do that by playing a card. So I would just play that card, and then I would get to add a corkscrew, again, the lowest value corkscrew, to my board for free. And the values of the cards are always, again, shown on here. During this phase, if a player only has cards that match your cards, they are or your type, they are allowed to play another card of that type. But otherwise, they have to play a distinctly different type. If you end up with 2 cards of the same type on either side of you, you could play any tile that you would like for free. So if you did not match the type of card that you wanted to play, let's say this, I still have this same setup, but for some reason I wanted to play this Tinseltown stage show, I could do that, and again I would place the 4 here, but I would lose points for doing that. If somebody else had a card of that type at the board, I would lose 3 points, and if nobody else had that card type at the board and I still wanted to play it, I would lose 2 points. So there's a penalty for not matching the cards on either side of you. So then the start player marker will rotate to the next person. These cards will get all placed, shuffle, or not even shuffled, just placed at the bottom of the deck. And then we would just reset, and then we would basically draft another 6 cards. This player then would play their first card, between 2 players. I would get to do that as well, and then we would build again. And this would happen until this space rotates back to me. Once this piece rotates back to me, then I'm going to get to play a card and do a free build. This is a bonus round. Each player will get to do that. So let's just say I've built this elephant wings, and I've placed that here. And then let's just say I've also placed one of these quick fry stands here. So after the bonus round has triggered, you're going to do your first scoring, and the scoring is kind of laid out on here. The bonus round, you get to construct one attraction. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you construct one attraction. You get to score your layout bonus. That's over here. Again, for covering all blue, you'll get 4 points. For covering all blue and yellow, you'll get 8 points. And for covering all 3 colors, you'll get 17 points. And you would score that each round. And then you would score the excitement level. So you would just look at the numbers on all of your various tiles and add those up and score that many points. So I get 4, 7, 8 points. These do not yet score me excitement points. Then after that, we would pass both markers to the next player, and that would begin a new round. If ever you would build, let's say I had a corkscrew and I built another corkscrew by playing a card, then instead of placing a new tile, I simply upgrade my corkscrew to the next available level. So the 0 would become a 4 and the 4 would become a 10. So that would also, increase your excitement level within your park. So this is going to go around a number of rounds. Again, it's 4 in a 3-player game, 3 in a 4-player game, and then there's going to be the final scoring. So the way that the final scoring works is that each row and column is going to score according to the chart shown here. So each row will score according to this. What you'll do is, let's say I have this corkscrew upgraded. Oh, and actually, when you upgrade, you do stack a new tile on here. So if I had a 0 and then I upgraded to 4, I would place a second tile on there. And then if I upgraded again to the 10, I would place a third tile on there. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I have several other tiles here, just to help demonstrate the way that the scoring works. So let's say I've done this one here, and maybe this here, and that here, and then down here, let's just say I have that built up. So we have this up to 5. So let's just say this is what my board looked like at the end of the game. So the way that the scoring would work after the last bonus round scoring that you're going to do during the game is you're going to look at each row and column, and you'll score the bonuses as shown on here. So what you do is you look at the number of tiles on level 1 in each row. So here I have 5 tiles in level 1. I would score 11 points. Then I look at the number of tiles on level 2 in the first row. So here I have 2 tiles on level 2. I would score 1 point. Level 3, I have 1 tile, which is going to be worth 0 points. But you look at that, both the number of tiles on each level in each row and in each column. So here, for example, I have 3 tiles on level 1, which would get me 4 points, and I have 2 tiles on level 2, that would get me 1 point. And you're going to do that for each row and each column. So it does get a little bit convoluted, but you have that score track to help you keep track of things. Also, then you will look at the themes and see if you get any bonuses for having a lot of tiles of each set. So, for example, if I looked at throw rides, if I had 5 total throw rides, here I only have 4, but if I had 5, I would score 9 points. If I had 13, I would score 14 points, and so on. And you would look at that for each of the 4 types of tiles. Each of those would score you bonus points as well. Or actually, it's 5 types of tiles. I forgot this card. So after that, whoever has the most points will be the winner. So let me just show you very quickly the alternate rules for the variant. So on this game side, the bonus round does not have any pre-printed boards or pre-printed spaces on the board. And it should be noted that each player has a different setup in this variation. But here there's no pre-printed things. Instead, each bonus round, each player is going to be dealt, I believe, 5 of these at the start of the game. And then they will have to arrange their tiles into these configurations. Each bonus round, they'll be able to discard one of these cards onto their discard pile. And when they do that, they will score points based on how many of the requirements they've done. So, for example, here, if you have tiles within that sort of grid configuration, so you had something like this, you would get your points. You would get, if you had 3 of them, you would get 3 points. If you had 4 of them, you get 6 points. If you have all of them, you get a 3-point bonus. And so just basically, it's a more advanced version of the other thing where you have preset things at the start of the game. Here, it's very variable, and you have to choose when you're going to score the various bonus tiles. Otherwise, it's a pretty similar game. And those are basically the rules. Again, in both cases, the most points at the end of it will win. Alright, so that is Alan's Adventureland. I will preface my comments by just saying that I've only played this game 1 time so far, and that was in the basic variant where the scoring area opportunities are pre-printed on the board. I did not yet play the bonus variant. I just saw that this game was new and didn't have a lot of information on Board Game Geek, so I wanted to put up a review to help people who might have been thinking about buying it. I will say that the game does play, I wouldn't say smoothly, but it does play, pretty cleanly. It's just that you're basically going to be shuffling and rearranging your cards every turn, so it does add a little bit of downtime to what could be a cleaner tile drafting game. A recent game came out, a city building game by the name of Quadropolis, which actually has a lot of similarities to this game. But that plays much more cleanly from round to round. I think the scoring is a little bit more obvious. Here, the idea that you're scoring each column and each row, and also the height in each column and each row, it's a little bit convoluted. And also the way that your upgrades work is a little bit counterintuitive at first. But, this is not a terrible game by any means. I just feel that it is somewhat outclassed by that game, Quadropolis. If you do want a game where you're going to be building a theme park, this is perfectly fine. But, it's somewhat abstract, to be perfectly honest. Why you're building this thing next to that thing, doesn't make a lot of sense. I did notice in the American theme park, the various player boards have different theme parks. They like the fast food stands. I think that's supposed to be a humor. So that's somewhat thematic, I suppose. But overall, the game is mostly just, figuring out how to create points and balancing basically those mid-game scoring points, which basically want you to spread out into certain tile configurations on the board, versus your end game scoring points, which really want you to build your levels up, and also those excitement points, which will be rewarded as you repeatedly build the same tile. The problem with going for those, however, is of course you really need to draft those cards in order to be able to repeatedly build the same type of attraction. So the game is fine. I don't think that I especially love it, but I'm going to try it again, and certainly I'll try that more advanced variant before I make any sort of final judgment. I just wanted to give people a sense of how it played. I might have gotten a small rule wrong here or there, but I think I've given you a good sense of how the game does play. since the game is new and there was not a lot of information on it. So those, I guess, are my initial thoughts on Alan's Adventureland, and thank you for watching.